Buenos días a todos. Ahora quiero ver un ejercicio de la Escuela Oficial de Idiomas y es bastante difícil, es de nivel C1, pero vamos a ver. Okay, I just want to show you an exercise from the Escuela Oficial de Idiomas, level C1, and it's quite difficult, but it's very interesting also. So I'm going to share the screen and we can look first at the exercise. So here you can see on the left we have the comprehension. Sorry, yes, here we are. Okay, so this is the comprehension de lectura, and it's from Andalusia, and you can see the website at the top. That's very useful for material, and there are lots of available websites with material from the EOI. So these exams are very typical for the Opposizione, and they're very similar from the Cambridge exams in relation to grammar, vocabulary, prepositions. So let's look at the first page. This is just an introduction, and they explain the rules and the instructions, and the next page is the beginning. So Tarea 1 de 14, so it's task 1 from 14, okay? So here we see a list A to R, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. So it's to R, okay? And the vocabulary is very interesting. So maybe you recognize a lot of the vocabulary, for example, as well as, however, even, hoped, dropped, casually. That's probably quite normal and standard vocabulary, but the rest is quite interesting, okay? So before we begin, I continue to the next page and we go to the bottom. The title is Independence on Ice, and it's a story about Greenland, the country Greenland, and the connection with Denmark, okay? Because Denmark was the previous ruler, I think, of Greenland, for example. Okay, and at the bottom here, you can see my notes, my page from my notes, just for example, and on the left, I have word reference available to try and search for new words. So you can see the text is 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs, and you have 14 options, 14 spaces. And now I'm going to look at the exercise to try and identify the key vocabulary, claves or pistas, hints or clues, to try and find the correct answer, okay? So I'm going to open my file here, and you can see that this is the same text, and I have underlined the key vocabulary to try to explain and to teach the important points, okay? So we have 1 page, 2 page, 3, 4 pages in total, okay? So it's your choice. In the exam, you can decide to read the text first yourself to have an idea, and probably that is a good idea. So maybe read the text yourself, try to understand the sentiment, the feeling of the text, and maybe you have a better idea after you read, and then check the options. So that's your choice. Each person has a preference, and it depends what you want to do. But first, I will try to explain briefly, very quickly, the vocabulary here, because some of it is very important. Okay, so as well as is like también in Espanol. Clout is like power. If you have a negotiation and you have a lot of clout in the negotiation, it means a lot of power, a lot of influence. So my best synonym is probably influence or power in relation to clout. Casually is no problem. It's something relaxed, informal, and the opposite of formal, okay? Disturbingly, I think, is no problem. It's the ly, so it's the adverb mente in Espanol, and the verb to disturb is molestar, okay? So molestando and then molestando mente. I don't know if that exists in Spanish, but it's disturbingly. It's the adverb in English. Dropped, I think, is okay. Gotear, drop the ball, drop the, there's many things, drop the price, drop the temperature, and here's the past simple. F is embolden, okay? So that's a very important word. And to embolden is related to fuerza, strength. So you can see bold. That is very important. Again, in English, remember, for example, bold text. It's like negrito, but you have bold behavior is like very strong behavior, okay? So to embolden somebody is to make them más fuerte, to make them very, very strong. And that's the family bold that we see here. So it's also in the past simple, emboldened. That's important also. So it's the past simple, because maybe in the text you have the subject first. For example, I emboldened, you emboldened, okay? Even incluso, ache is frustrating, no problem. I is hoped, como esperar. Again, it's the past simple, hoped. And J is however, sin embargo. K is the negative, not. L is very important also. It's a nuisance, and it's similar to a problem or something annoying. Okay, if something is bothering you, annoying you, it's a nuisance. To annoy, I will write here, or to bother, it's like a nuisance. It's a very good word. It's very good vocabulary. And I'm not surprised it's the C1 here, okay? Pursuit, okay? So if you have a pursuit, it's like an activity. So what are your favorite pursuits? It's a little formal. It's like an activity, a hobby. And there is a verb also to pursue, which is similar to follow. So for example, pursue that car, pursue your dreams is to follow your dreams. Okay, I think you can see that in the text. To pursue your dreams is like to follow. So it could be two possibilities. It could be an activity or a hobby, or it could be related to following something as well, which is the same concept because you follow your hobby. Question is the verb, como questionar, and it's the past simple again, question. Rootless is a fantastic adjective. A rootless person is a very no emotion, very strong, very no emotion, and usually negative situation, negative context, okay? But be careful, there's another word, root, which is completely different. Root is raíz in Espanol. I think it's raíz. So for example, the root of the family, the root of the problem, the root of the hair, roots of your hair. So there's a different word completely between rootless, which is very aggressive, very no emotion, and root is completely different, okay? So here we have it in the adverb as well, ly. So that's always very important, the detail. The thumb is the part of the hand. This part of the hand is the thumb, okay? It's possible a verb. It's possible a substantive also, okay? So for example, to thumb through the papers is like to flick or to look through the papers. So just be aware, it's possible a verb, or to thumb a lift. If you're looking for a car to take you somewhere, you thumb a taxi. So be open-minded and be flexible for the possibility. Underwrite is related to insurance. If you underwrite in the bank a loan, un presta, it's like to secure or guarantee. So it's very similar to guarantee, I think is the best synonym, to secure or to guarantee. And then R is very important. Worry is in relation to like if you're tired and you're suspicious. Probably suspicious is the best translation. Very wary, very careful, cuidado. And it's a very interesting word. So it's something related to suspicious and conscious of something. Or the second significance could be tired. And that they're the two, okay, that are the most important. So now we continue to the text. And we have some very, very good vocabulary. It's very fluent. It's very good, colorful vocabulary. So independence on ice. The first expression is a very good expression. It's related to champagne or celebration. So if the party is on ice, that means you're waiting to celebrate. Everything is ready, and you're waiting and waiting to celebrate. So independence is basically waiting, esperar, okay? Crude prices are related to oil, and then falling is caer. Forcing, no problem. To put off is a phrasal verb like to postpone. So to put off a wedding, to put off a party, to put off a decision is to postpone a decision. And to split is like to separate, okay? So to split is separate. There is a phrase of her to split up, and it's like to separate or to break up from a relationship, okay? And it's the same as break up. And here it's very, very similar. So very good vocabulary already. The collapsing price of crude over the past 6 months has been a boon. That's like a treasure, something positive. If you receive a boon, it's something positive, like a big prize, like a treasure. Similar to treasure, a big positive increase of money. And it's very, very positive, okay? For countries importing, so the countries that import, and the opposite is export. And a curse is very interesting as well. It's like mala suerte. So typically the bruja, the witch, puts poner un mala suerte, to put a curse on somebody, and that's very good vocabulary. The second significance of curse is like mala palabras. If you have a bad word, like a maleducado palabra, a rude word, it's possible to curse in English. So there's two possibilities with the bruja, and the second is with the palabras, mal palabras, bad words, okay? But in one corner of the North Atlantic, it is actually, okay, and at the same time, I will open the document here with the options so you can see them very, very clearly. I'll make it smaller maybe so you can see everything, just to remind you. But I recommend that you take a picture on your phone to have yourself organized as well. Okay, so for the moment, I'll just put it here so you have an idea. And option 0 is ache. It is actually frustrating hopes of becoming an independent nation at all. That means like incluso una vez, like only, even if, incluso aunque, or incluso si. So at all is very good grammar, and it's the detail you need to be careful with, this explanation. So of the North Atlantic, it is actually frustrating hopes of becoming an independent nation at all. So it's a small chance, a small opportunity, and maybe they have one small opportunity, okay? So that's the significance of it all. Formally is very important. You can have a former job, a former workmate. It's very similar to an ex, okay? So an ex-workmate, an ex-job is the previous job, the previous workmate. So former is very, very important word in English. And here formerly is the adverb, a colony. So Greenland in the past, an ex-colony of Denmark, okay, has secured significant self-rule in recent decades, and now terms itself, good vocabulary like llamar, calls itself, call myself, call yourself, call himself, call herself, but it's the country, so it's it, call itself an autonomous country. But areas including justice, defense, and foreign affairs remain under Copenhagen's. So here is number 1, and the key for me are the 2 words here. Remain is like kedar, stay, and then under is the key. And in relation to the context of the article, it's related to power, control, authority. So we're looking for a word in the list similar to power, under somebody's power, under somebody's control, under Copenhagen's rule, regla. So this could be possible vocabulary. Let's look at the list. And okay, it's difficult. It's very, very difficult. It's very fluent. It's very good English. And the answer, I think, is P, thumb. Okay, under the thumb. And that's a famous expression, very conversational. It's typical in relationships. If the boyfriend and the girlfriend, if one person is under the thumb, it's in relation to control. They have no movement. They're not permitted to make the decision. They're not permitted to do anything without the opinion of the other person. So that's a very famous expression, very good expression. Like to wear the trousers, llevar los pantalones in English as well as the same, to wear the trousers in the relationship. So probably that's the best answer for number 1, thumb, okay, under the thumb, because of the context. Some Greenlanders, so they are the people, the ER, the people, some Greenlanders are satisfied with this, but others want full independence, and their recent leaders have tended, como tendencia, to promise it, and it is relation to independence to them. while mientras, keeping time vague, like nebuloso, not very clear. Very, very good vocabulary. If something is vague, it's nebuloso. It's not very clear. It's like secret and uncertain. Okay, so very good vocabulary. The second page, we're going to look at the first paragraph. Okay, and when Kern Energy, a British petrochemicals company, discovered traces of oil, so traces is very good vocabulary, to trace your family roots, to trace your family history, and in paper and pen for the children, they trace. The hand, it's like picture, to draw a picture, okay? And in this situation, it's a trace of oil. It's like a little piece, a small piece of oil. Beneath is good vocabulary for under. So beneath the ocean is under the ocean. Very important, beneath. I'll just show you here so we're clear with everything. With the identification. So I'm going to move that. Beneath is under. Very important vocabulary, very good vocabulary, beneath. Okay. And let me go back to the text. So I'm trying to have the two options open at the same time. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so again, beneath is under. Greenland's territorial waters in 2010. It seemed the secessionists, so good suffix, it's related to the person. Remember, a scientist is the person here, it's the plural, and this apostrophe is related to possession. Remember, possession in the plural, there is no extra S. Prayer is when you, in relation to religion, when you pray. So the verb is to pray, and a substantive are prayers, had been answered. And that's the typical verb associated with the prayer, to answer your prayer. It's very famous. Oil and other. So other is related to the plural with the S. Clave, muy clave, very important. Other minerals, including aluminium and gold. And it was something. So the sentence, oil is the subject, and other minerals, the subject of the sentence, including aluminium, gold. It was something, would give the territory of just 56,200 inhabitants the financial something to go it alone. That's a very good expression, and it's like ser independiente. So to be independent is to go alone. Very good expression. So if you leave the party and you want to go it, you leave your friends, you go it alone. You're independent. You do your own action. You do your own thing. Okay. So in relation to number 2, it's a bit difficult because we need to think and give the territory the financial something. Okay. So number 3, the key is related to financial, and the options we have: wary, ruthlessness, pursuit, clout. Okay. I think clout is related to power. And for me, it fits very, very well with number 3. So to have financial clout would be absolutely perfect for number 3. So C is 3, and then number 2, it was something, casually, no. A as well as, I don't think so. J, okay. I think also hoped is perfect for number 2. So it was hoped because they were not certain, they were not sure, it was only a hope. Okay, so very, very good vocabulary. So just to write the answers, I'm going to say number 1 was the option, as we had in the previous page, P. Okay. 2 is, we saw here, hoped, I. And 3, I think, clout, which is option C. Okay, very good. Now let's move to number 4, and we continue with the options. We continue with the vocabulary. And Nuuk, Greenland's tiny capital, has resembled, good vocabulary, an Arctic Klondike, no idea, but very specific, for the past few years, with oil executives in suits, trache, pouring out. So pour is related to water and the drink. So you pour the drink, it's this action to pour. So pouring out of the airport is like dejando, dejar, to leave, with a lot of people leaving the airport, pouring out of the airport. In relation to rain, if it's raining a lot, we say it's pouring, pouring, pouring. So it's a lot of rain. And here's the same, a lot of people, dejar, leaving the airport. Okay. And hotels and restaurants stuffed. Again, colorful vocabulary, very good vocabulary. Stuff are like cosas. but it's a verb also to stuff your bag, is like to put a lot of things into your bag. Your face, if you're eating, typical with children, to stuff your face is to eat a lot. And here, stuff to capacity is like yenar, like full, really, really full to capacity. Okay. Fishermen and tradesmen have developed lucrative side jobs. Good vocabulary. So it's not your primary job, it's an extra job on the side. There's another word in English, a nixer, very informal. N-I-X-E-R. A nixer is like a side job, something on the side. So it's not your principal. Okay, it's fixers or for the visitors. One local hotel owner, so the verb is propriar and the person is the owner, ER. The owner caused worry or caused problems, caused consternation with ambitions to open a brothel. Okay, and I'll just get the exact translation here for the brothel because there's probably a lot of informal words. And here the translation you can see, bordel. I think that's the best translation, bordel. Okay, so that is a brothel to service the 2,000 Chinese workers expected at plant smelting works. So there's a word in English to melt, M-E-L-T, but it's different from smelting. Smelting is related to metal and iron and the minerals. Okay, and works is like obras, like a factory, similar to a factory. Okay, number 4, possession for Greenland, and politicians, just the pronunciation, politicians. Politics is the subject, the adjective is political, politician is the person. Okay, so politicians were, that's the context for the options. And let me find the options for you. So the context is politicians, and sorry, that's a different exercise. Here we go. So number 4, politicians were, as well as, okay, casually, probably not disturbingly, questioned, no. And the final part, petrodollars, is the key also. So dollar is related to money and petro is the money related to oil. So the politicians, the connection with the money, the oil money and the politicians is what we're looking for. Okay, and were questioned, worried by the prospect, no. Okay, it's a bit tricky for me at the moment. Normally it's something like attracted. They were attracted, I think probably F, emboldened. They were given strength. They felt really strong with the idea of the extra money. And I think that's the best answer. The only answer is F. Okay, so I think 4 is F. They were emboldened by the idea because they, valiente, very brave with the idea of extra money from oil. So it's a good example, I think. Okay, and then you have Aleka Hammond, who served as her country's first female prime minister between April 2013 and September 2014, when a corruption scandal drove her from office. Very good vocabulary. Drove is related to conducir, and conducir is drive, but it's the past, drove her from office. Okay, said, the verb say in the past irregular. Independence was possible within, dentro, her life. Life and lifetime, very similar. Dentro su vida, within her life, or dentro su tiempo de vida, in her lifetime. It's just a substantive, the same significance as vida, really. Dispassion, so it's the negative, and that's the key. Because it's in blue, underlined in blue, I think it's the key for the answer. So they were not happy, unhappy, angry. Observers were more, and I think or is absolutely the best. Like, they're very skeptical, very suspicious. Okay, so R, I think, is definitely the best answer for number 5. So the angry people were more suspicious, more cautious. Okay, a study commissioned by university, and also with a study, it's typical with the verb commissioned, by the University of Copenhagen, and Nuuk concluded in January 2014 that Greenland would remain dependent on, that's a typical preposition, dependent on the Lewis, dependent on the internet, dependent on the company, dependent on a person. Okay, Danish money for at least almenos 25 years, if something longer. And this is the key because it's an expression, and without a doubt, it is K, if not longer. Okay, definitely it's K. So not too difficult at the moment, I don't think. So 6 is definitely that expression, if not longer. Okay. The next paragraph, 1 year later, the political rhetoric, that's like the speaking, the discorso, the speech, the discourse, has something, a few tones. Okay, so the key here is tone in relation to sound and music. And normally we would say lower the tone. So if you lower the tone, it's like lower the intensity. Okay, but the political rhetoric has maybe increased or lowered. So something similar to increased or lowered. And probably here, dropped. I think E is definitely the best context. So it has dropped a few tones, like lowered. A press conference is a rueda de prensa. Typical in football and sports, you have a press conference on January 9th in Copenhagen. The Prime Minister, Kim Kielsen, said, the light of independence burn, quemar, with the fire to burn within, dentro, okay? But he was unsure if it would be realized, like ocurrir, to happen in his lifetime. Mr. Kielsen is 48, suggesting that the timeline has been pushed back, no problem, phrasal verb, but the pushback is very literal. So it's no problem, it's to move back a few decades. In the long term, Mr. Kielsen is an adamant supporter of nationhood. So the suffix here is very important. You have childhood, nationhood. I'm going to write it here. Childhood, nationhood, parenthood, adulthood. There are a few other examples, but remember, a hood is a capucha. So for example, this is a hood, and it's the same. The childhood are the years, the años, the years you're a child. So for example, 10, 11, 12, they're your childhood, because the capucha covers the time. And it's the same concept with nationhood, parenthood, adulthood. It's something that's contained by the hood. A rugged is very good vocabulary, and I'll get you the translation here. Rugged is like very, very rough. Fuerte, resistente, robusto, duro. Yeah, okay, so that's the concept. Very strong, very robust. Former, again, ex-former, ex-policeman. He dresses, so the context is the policeman. He's very strong, very rugged, very robust. And he dresses, let's see the options again. Something in relation to clothes. Yes, for me, it has to be B, casually. He dresses casually. For sure, that's the option, because it's typical with dress. He dresses casually. It's skewing the business suit. So that's very good vocabulary. It's very academic. It's very formal. It's like avoiding evitar. It's a synonym for evitar, to avoid. The business suit, the trajes. Okay, often affected by Greenland's aspiring politicians, and ensure. So there is a few vocabulary here: to ensure, to assure, to insure, and to I think they're the three most important ones. Yeah. So ensure is like certain, to make certain. So to make certain. For example, when you leave the house, ensure the door is closed. So after you leave the house, ensure the door is closed. That's the first one. The second one is like guarantee or promise. Okay, so to promise or guarantee. So if your friend needs help, you will assure your friend, you will promise, or you will guarantee your friend, okay? And the substantive is an assurance. It's like a guarantee, an assurance and a guarantee. I think you can see that. I'll move the text. And then the final one, to insure, is related to the car, the property, seguros. If you pay money to the company, and if you lose your phone or you damage your car, the company pay you the money. So that's the verb to insure. Okay, and it's related to insurance, the substantivo. Okay, so very good vocabulary. And here it's hacer certain. So he ensures he has time for outdoor, and we remember activities, something like activities, outdoor activities. So probably pursuits, outdoor pursuits, M. Okay, that's 9. So I think 9 is M, definitely. Very clear, very positive context, and no doubt. Okay, like seal fishing. Seal is the foca, I think, in Espanol, the animal in the water. And reindeer is the ciervo. Hunting is tathar. While fluent in Danish, he prefers to speak his native Greenlandic in Inuit dialect at press briefings. Okay, so press briefing is like the press conference, rueda, the prensa, but a briefing, there is a verb, breve, brief meeting, is like reunión muy breve. Okay, you can also say briefly, like brevemente. And a press briefing is you give the information, you give the news in very short, very small information. And that's the significance of a briefing, a press briefing, okay? You can also brief the president or brief the manager, give the information most important to the manager, and very good vocabulary. Okay, so that's 9. And then we move to number 10 in the next paragraph, the prime minister. And probably it's sin embargo, because the style of the text and remembering your options, I think clearly it's sin embargo. Okay, so 10J, just for the style of the text, it's very clear. There's no other option. Seems parathere to be realistic about his country's financial limits. Greenland only ticks over. That's a phrasal verb, tick over. So I'm going to write here, to tick over is mantener in función. So to tick over is like automatic, to do something just to maintain your function. So not very intense, not nothing, it's in the middle. So something casual, something to maintain the function, okay? So to tick over, by dint of, is very difficult. For me, it was very unusual. And it's like debido a. In this case, it's debido a, but it's not common. I would not recommend to remember it too much, but here it's a debido a, okay? Annual subsidy from Denmark, the money and budget. So the context for number 11 is related to dinero and presupuesto. No, let me just get the translation for budget to be sure. It's related to money and, yes, correct, presupuesto. Okay, so the money, something presupuesto. So let's look at the options. In the context for money, dropped, hoped, however, nuisance, pursuit, under rights. Yes, so under rights is like guarantee. Remember from the introduction, the guarantee or promises. So the money guarantees budgets for medical facilities, schools, and businesses of government itself, business of government itself. The previous government also led by, so the verb is to lead, and it's like liderar, and the past is led. Okay, so it's related to liderar, and led by is the past, led by Mr. Kielsen's party, but with a narrower, narrow is estrecho, so más estrecho, coalition, allowing spending to run out of, is como perder, to lose, run out of time, run out of food, run out of energy, run out of control, perder, okay? An interim 2014 budget report in September showed a deficit of 283 million kroner instead of, in lugar de, the expected 21 million kroner surplus. Mr. Kielsen says he will cut that deficit by boosting. The verb is to boost, to increase. Okay, so in the text here, I will write the verb to boost is similar to increase. Maybe crecer, to grow, very similar. Boosting income from fisheries and tourism. Okay, so the context here is the sentence. Mr. Kielsen says he will cut that deficit by increasing income from fisheries and tourism, something from oil and minerals. Okay, so tourism, maybe ruthlessly. Okay, it's possible connection, boosting ruthlessly. And I don't think there's another option at the moment. So let's see. Disturbingly is an option, and it's negative. So here, ruthlessly is like very aggressive. I think the translation or the synonym is aggressive. So for me, 12 would be O. Okay, and I think we've skipped 11. Sorry, 11 is under right, so 11 is Q. Okay, 12 is O, and then 13 is the next one. Vague, but he is something vague, and the key for this answer is vague, like nebuloso, not clear. So if somebody is very vague, they're not clear. But he is something vague about the details. Probably negative, and I think D, disturbingly, like is preoccupado, it's worried in relation to the details. So I think 13 would be D. And that's a good combination. You're disturbingly worried, disturbingly vague. So he's not clear, and that disturbs a lot of people, okay, about the details. During the election campaign, his party made a series, okay, so it's singular. In theory, it's singular, but always in English, it's the S, so it's irregular plural. A series of problems, a series of movies. So here, yes, it's singular in concept, but it's irregular, so it's the S plural, and that's very important, okay? A series of expensive promises, including corporate tax cuts, new airports, and grant. So grant is like a beca, financial beca. It's money you receive from the government, or from, typically from the government, or from a university. It's una beca, okay? Money that you receive for everything from free internet in schools to home help for the elderly, okay? So the elderly, just the spelling, is the word for old people, okay? So the elderly in general are the old people. Meanwhile, como at the same time, okay, or mientras, similar to mientras. I think the difference with meanwhile is necessary at the start, and while is possible in the middle, okay? That's the difference, I think, between the two, but they have more or less the same significance of mientras. Those once tantalizing, very attractive, so you have the hyphen in the middle, and remember, a hyphen is this action here, a hyphen, okay? This word, this action. So it's a one word, once tantalizing, once attractive, oil revenue, far-fetched, very, very good word. And the verb is to fetch, similar to get or to attain, okay? To get or to attain. And it's typical with the dog. If you tirar del palo, throw the stick, and you say to the dog, fetch, that instruction is to get, attain the stick, and return with the stick as well, okay? The other possibility is fetching, like adjective, attractive. It's a fetching jumper, it's a fetching shirt, fetching dress. It's like very attractive, okay? And here, far-fetched is typical in relation to an idea. It's very unrealistic, okay? So it's not realistic, it's very far, muy lejos de reality, de realidad, okay? The oil price collapse of the past 6 months has made Arctic exploration too demasiado. And pricey is the adjective in relation to price, precio. Precio is the substantive price, and pricey is the adjective. Very good adjective, very interesting. So the restaurant was very pricey, the clothes were very pricey, the holiday was very pricey, like demasiado caro, okay, expensive. 3 oil companies, Norway's Statoil, France's GDF Suez, and Denmark's Dong Energy, returned their exploration licenses in early January. Other companies, remember, other is for plural, companies, have put something on hold. So that's the key, it's an expression. Put your holidays on hold, put the meeting on hold. And I think the final answer is put, what options do we have? Questioned. I don't know the final answer, so let's check the options that we have. D, what are we missing? P, I, A, maybe we're missing A. C, we're missing A, C, no, we have C, A, D, E, F, we have F, G, maybe G, A or G, H, we have H, I, H, I, J, K, L, maybe, okay, so A or G are the options. So let me check A or G. And in the final one, put as well. I don't think it's A, put even on hold. No, I don't think it's G, I don't think it's A, put weary tum, question, nuisance, however, casually, dropped, hoped, pursuits. So I'm having a bit of difficulty here. So let me check. A, B, C, G, H. Have we got H, I, J, K, L? Let me see L. No, we've no L. So L could be a possibility. M. Do we have M? Yes, we have M. N, L, M, N. No N. Okay, so N is a possibility. Just to check what we have left. O, L, M, N, O, P. Yes, we have P, Q. Yeah, and R, I think we have R as well. So for me, I think it's possibly L or N, and L is nuisance. I don't think so. And N, questions. No, I don't think so. So just a sentence again, so the full sentence, 3 oil companies, Norway's Statoil, France's GDF Suez, and Denmark's Dong Energy returned their exploration licenses in early January. Other companies have put something on hold. Independence may still be. Have put as well as on hold. No, I've put even on hold. Maybe G. L. No, and N. Okay, so don't worry for the moment. We might get I'll put the answers on the text if you want later. But the key is the rest of the vocabulary. May still be. May is the modal. And be is the infinitive. So after the modal, you have the infinitive. I may go, I might go, and still is todavía. The position is flexible. The hottest political topic. So topic is related to the adjective hot. It's a hot topic in Greenland, but the climate has chilled, like the temperature has dropped. Okay, so that's a very good exercise. The level is C1, and you can see the vocabulary is very interesting, very fluent, very colorful, and very good level. So I recommend that you maybe check again the vocabulary, review, and have a look to check everything, okay? So I hope you enjoyed the material, and if you have any questions, put a comment in the video at the bottom and I can check and try to answer as much as possible. Good luck with the study and good luck with the work, and keep in contact to see all the new material and the new videos. Thank you very much and talk to you soon. Bye.